Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Thanks so much for spending some time with us. We are talking to someone who's I've had my eye on their career for over 30 years, I think, and part of the reason is because we're talking to another San Francisco kid today. It's a situation where, if you guys know how this works in the Asian American community, my mom knew his mom, and so whenever they got together, they would brag about each other a little, or brag about their kids a little bit. So I always knew when Kelvin was in a play or in a movie or a commercial or anything, because Auntie Mabel would tell my mom about it, and then we go to the theater, we go find him. So we are talking to San Francisco native and actor of over 30 years. We are talking to Kelvin Han Yee. Hey, Kelvin, welcome back to the show.
It is a pleasure, Curtis. Man, you just blew my mind.
Yeah,
because who's your mom?
Okay, so my mom is Brenda. Well, here's the thing. Okay, so Brenda Chin. Okay, so here's how far we go back. So
tell me, yeah. So Brenda,
A Christmas Carol, ACT, San Francisco Geary Theater.
Of course,
right?
Of course.
You were every year. You were in that. What were you?
I was in that for about for about 6 years. I was in that. I played a number of different characters. I don't know if we're reminding people that the American Conservatory Theaters we're talking about in San Francisco, and for a long time it has been kind of a standard in the American theater.
Really
right?
Good,
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you ever saw things there, but the Geary Theater is a grand theater in San Francisco, and it is a regional repertory theater for many years. And I think a lot of incredible artists have come out of the American Conservatory Theater, and I was one of the first Asian American actors there, doing, the classics and stuff like that. Here's what it was. So like I said, I'd been kicked out of high school, and I was working like, odd jobs. Like I was doing some improv in comedy clubs, but also at the same time, I was working like as a bouncer in nightclubs. There was this like sort of strip club in the Tenderloin I was working at part time as a bouncer and like that. And the artistic director of the American Conservatory Theater actually called me into his office and said, hey, he had seen me in some little small plays at like the Asian American Theater Company in San Francisco, which I was also sort of dabbling in at the time. And he said, what are you doing? And I said, well, not much. I'm working at the strip club down the street in Tenderloin. And he said, well, you shouldn't be doing that. And so he got me out of that. He got me into the union, the actors union, and he started paying me a wage. He said, you quit your job down there because you're going to get shot. And I said, yeah, you're right. Anyway, so the theater kind of saved me from that and gave me an education at the same time. And so I was a company member there at the American Conservatory Theater for, maybe 6 years. Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
Let me get through your career a little bit. It's long. It's long.
Well, because that's a big chunk, right?
It's going to be
yeah. Take a deep breath.
That's where. So we started there in the city, but over 100 productions now, including stage and screen. Going back to the 80s, 90s, 2000s.
Oh my God.
If anyone out there has watched television or film in the last 30 years, you've probably seen Kelvin. Like, there are so many shows, I don't even know if I can get...
You probably have, but you probably don't know who the heck I am.
Yeah, so
I'm that guy that I am so not famous. I'm the most not famous Asian guy around.
But let me read some of these titles, and you could chime in like quick interjections if you want.
Oh, God.
So I Married an Axe Murderer, a great San Francisco film.
A great San Francisco film.
Nash Bridges.
I did a lot of work
Yeah.
For Don Johnson in Nash Bridges, I would come on every season as a different bad guy.
Different Asian bad guy.
Yeah, as a different Asian bad guy. Because you know, he needed bad guys.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
San
guess
Francisco,
they didn't
right?
in San Francisco. And so the acting pool is not as big as like
limited.
Los Angeles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would audition for those things. And so you can look at on YouTube, there's a whole thing about people that have been on Nash Bridges and what they're doing now. And and so I'm in Nash Bridges as different as like 5 different characters. Every year I'd be I was a mad scientist once. And they put glasses on me then. Right. I was inventing hot sauce with Cheech Marin. And that was early in my career. But that gave me a start. And just recently, Don Johnson did a reboot of Nash Bridges on the CW network. It was a little movie thing. And, I contacted them and I said, hey, listen, a few years ago, I had done a movie called Bucky Larson, Born to be a Star. One of the worst reviewed movies in the world. A sleazy little movie, a funny movie about the porn industry, but Don Johnson was in it. And I was in it playing some bad guy, some mobster or something like that. And Don says, this is Kelvin on Ye. This is my favorite bad guy in San Francisco. That's Don Johnson. That's my Don Johnson. That's a good. That's pretty good, right? Yeah. He used to be on Nash Bridges all the time. Hey, Kelvin, you ever get your residual checks still? I'm like, Don, not only do I get my residual checks from you, I said, I just bought a house here in the Valley, and you bought a little corner of that for me. And he laughed. Did he hear that? Kelvin on Ye said I bought him a corner of his house. So anyway, I got a hold of him and I said, you're doing a reboot of the thing. And hey, man, like old times.
Come on, man.
I'm your guy. I'm your guy. So he brought me back. Brought me back. And I'm in the reboot of Nash Bridges playing the same.
Bad guy number 7. Yeah.
Right. The bad guy number 7. Right. Doing the same crap that I've been doing for 30 years, but there's another residual check. So
there you go. Yeah.
God bless Don Johnson.
Yeah. That's cool. Let me run through these.
Okay, there's more. There's more.
Oh no, hundreds more. But let me stop me when you need to, all right? The Bold and the Beautiful, Entourage, Criminal Minds, Westworld. How about Grey's Anatomy? Grey's Anatomy?
I tell you, Grey's Anatomy work is all about being a doctor, and a whole lot of polysyllabic words
that you don't
delivered clearly and rapidly while you're walking down very clean hallways.
Yeah.
That's what Grey's Anatomy is about.
Well, let's get into some newer stuff. Recently, I didn't know you were in this. I just had it on, and then you popped out all of a sudden. Was Partner Track. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. Yeah. Partner Track with Arden Cho, the lovely Arden Cho.
The exquisite. Yeah, pop him in. A very interesting character because he's a different kind of character, I think, than you see out of Asian males in the media. He's a refined guy. He's got some cojones. He's got some weight to him, but in a very subtle kind of subtextual way,
Yeah. And then Law and Order, Organized Crime. This is currently on the air right now, right? I've seen.
Yeah, you can watch it on Peacock, which is the NBC app or whatever they call it. Yeah, with Michael Tao and Francois Chow. Some great Asian American actors, talent. We do a 2-episode arc on Law and Order. For the producer is Dick Wolf. I don't know if you know.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
He does the Law and Order franchise, the Chicago franchise, Chicago PD, Chicago Med, Chicago Fire. He does the FBI franchise.
He's got the golden touch, right? Whatever he touches.
Well, he's just a great storyteller.
Yeah.
He's a very talented guy, and he's creating a lot of great content, I think.
Oh yeah.
It's good stuff.
And then now this episode might come out after it, but I think it was April 6th, Beef with Ali Wong and Steven Yeun. Like, if you guys don't know about Beef, you're in for a treat, right? This is
right. And if this podcast drops anytime after April 6th, I'm sure that
you've heard of it.
You will be hearing about it because it's crazy great.
Yeah.
It's quirky, crazy, darkly comedic. It's a different kind of thing, but it's a tone and a taste that I think people will really relate to. There's a anger, there's an acidity to it in a funny way that I think a lot of people feel inside themselves. And there's also a sort of a healing quality about the comedy in it too.
Yeah, we'll save that for a second. Let's talk about
Okay,
that a
okay.
little later, because we got to talk a little Ali Wong later. But we'll talk for now.
Oh my God! Okay,
let's talk a little Kelvin Han Yee first. Get into this. So were you a theatrical kid as a kid? Were you always trying to get out of trouble by talking your way out of it, or what? When did the acting thing start for you?
The acting thing start for me. One day I was walking down the street, literally, and I walked into a place. It was the Asian American Theater Company in San Francisco. Okay. And I had no idea what this thing was, but it was a group of actors, artists. And among this group were some great playwrights like David Henry Wong and Philip Gotanda, writing plays like FOB, and Philip Gotanda writing Yankee Dog You Die and Fish Head Soup, and the original great canon of Asian American literature that becomes all of the Everywhere All at Once and the films and the Crazy Rich Asians, but a lot of that writing starts with that wave of Asian American playwrights, Frank Chin and novelists at that time, coming out of the 60s into the 70s, early 80s.
The Amy Tans,
right? Exactly right. And I got to mix it up with I got to know all of those people. It was a very small group of people,
but legendary. I mean,
legendary folks. Yeah. And I originated the roles in Yankee Dog You Die, which was a Philip Gotanda's seminal work about the Hollywood film industry. And strangely enough, I have grown up to actually kind of become the other character, the older character in that in that play, who has been in Hollywood for his whole career, a lengthy career, and has done lots and lots of things. And
that's where I met you. I it was a long time ago, and it's very brief, but I was a kid. I was a theater major in college, actually, and didn't really have ambitions to be professional. But
why?
Well, we'll talk about that in a second. The lack of roles. You had more. You had more stick to it than I did. But I volunteered at the AATC and was just walking in the prop room, with stuff from the early days and just the legends, and working with what was her name? Pam was the
Pam Wu.
Pam Wu was the director there,
right?
Artistic director. So I was working with her, and then you were headlining with Greg Watanabe in Fish Head Soup. Got to meet Philip Gotanda and got to see you in that little stage on Arguello over at Clement. It's a tiny it's a cool space. It's a very cool space. Now it's a dance studio, but it was just a cool time. And we talked a little bit. We weren't friends or anything, but we talked a little bit, and just watching you work with Greg.
We were friends. We were, no, I don't know. But we were, what? We were community.
You were friendly. Yeah, you were definitely.
Right. We were, I mean, there was a brotherhood there that you could feel. And, we recognized each other as Asian Americans with a hunger for,
because that's all we had was each other, right? Because we didn't have a lot of fans or anything. Yeah.
Right. So. And, we knew that we were on the same page about a lot of things, right?
Yeah. But it was a struggle, live theater. You would think San Francisco could support a small theater, but it was tough. But yeah, what other memories do you have out of the AATC? That was a cool time for you, huh?
Well, yeah, and that really that's the roots of who I am as an artist, because the acting art is really all about portraying human beings, like these, these characters. They're all reminders to you, the audience, of what it is to be a human being in all of its many, 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 many forms, in all of the many, many, many different kinds of stories that I am involved in being part of telling.
Mm-hmm.
It really all boils down to one story. It's the human story.
Yeah.
There's one story that really, right? There's one sort of universal truth that if you tell all the different branches of the story, you get closer to what the essential universal is.
Yeah.
You kind of do. And that's why representation and diversity and storytelling is important, because you get all the different shades of what it is, and you get closer to it and the specificity of it by the diverseness of art and storytelling and culture and humanity.
Well, that's it, man. You asked me why I didn't pursue it. And one of the reasons was, now this is not your fault or anything. One of the reasons was I watched you.
I hope it's not my fault.
No,
what are you talking about?
Well, here it is.
No,
so I watch you, and you're so freaking good at doing what you just said, right? Portraying humanity. Acting,
that's nice of you to say.
Acting is so hard. Everyone out there, if you've never, I mean, it's not like doing a little skit in Sunday school or something like that.
People don't realize how hard it is.
So hard.
And how much work it is. Yeah. And, I will say this. I don't consider myself, I've been doing this a long time. I ain't brilliant. I ain't no Olivier. I think I get the job done. But it's hard, and it takes really a lot of work. Yeah. For me, it takes a lot of work. They say, "Oh, how do you memorize the lines?" And I'm like, "Oh, what's your trick? What's your trick? What do you take?" There ain't no trick to it, brother. There ain't no trick to it, man. It's called work. It's called repetition. It's called saying these things over and over and over again, reading it over and over and over again, repeating actions and behaviors and things. That's how you memorize, and there's other work that goes into it as well.
Yeah,
and the research is a constant work, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
But we all can see someone who's not a good actor. We can all spot bad acting really easily, but it's the good acting that you almost don't notice. You forget that you're watching a play. You forget you're sitting on Arguello. You forget you're sitting on Geary. You're in it, and that's what you have.
I hope so. That's what I'm trying to do. I whine about, I'm not famous. Nobody knows who I am. I can't get a table at a restaurant in LA, But in truth, as an artist, I hope that I'm invisible. I hope that you're not really seeing Kelvin Hanye. You're seeing Captain Lin, the commanding officer of the 4th Precinct down in Lower Manhattan in New York. And he grew up in the neighborhood, and he sounds like he grew up in the neighborhood. You can feel that from him. You can feel his love for his community. And I don't know.
Well, I mean, Don Johnson put you in 6 different episodes. If you sucked, people would notice.
I couldn't suck.
People would notice. They say, "This guy again? I hate this guy," right? But you were so convincing, right? No one noticed you the second time around.
There might be some people out there that say that. Oh, there's that guy. I don't know what his name is, but it's that guy again.
It's the 5th time.
I don't know. I hope not.
I think that's the key, right? Is they trying to be, when you become that character, people don't see Kelvin Hanye anymore. They see the character.
I hope so. I hope so, because that's my job.
That's what you do.
Is to be telling this story, and for you to get lost in this story, so that you can see parts of yourself, so that you can be reminded of, as I said, of the human story, of what parts of this that relate to you.
Now, I don't know if you have any direct relationship to this project, but around this time, the mid-90s, when I met you, was when Joy Luck Club came out. And I'm sure you must have read for it. I mean, even I read for a non-speaking role for a second there. It was the thing, right? It was the big thing that was going to change everything. Now, we know it didn't quite change everything, but it was the first Asian American full feature film.
It was a step. It was the step in the upward direction of it was a first.
A lot of firsts, yeah.
Right. Okay, let me say this. Yes, I auditioned for a role in that. There were very few Asian male roles in that. There was really only one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And it was a women's story, which is a very good thing. But I also think that's one of the reasons why it was accepted and it had the success, and why that story rises I don't know. I think there's still a lack of representation in Asian AAPI maleness.
Yeah,
I think there's still a lacking in representation and shading in representation of that.
Yeah. Let's take a quick detour to the 2000s. Anything memorable about the 2000s? You were getting more roles. I started to see, one or two roles a year starting in the 2000s. But yeah, like it was a desert for Asian men especially. I mean, if you didn't know martial arts and you didn't have a Chinese accent,
Right.
or it just
Well, also, at that time, also, all through the 90s and stuff, I continued to do work in Asian American theater.
Mhm.
Even down here in Los Angeles, I worked with East West Players and Lodestone, but always sort of contributing to the culture, the Asian American culture, by continuing to dabble in the voice of these Asian American writers, especially writing for theater, which is more accessible. At that time there weren't any Asian American writers writing a lot of films and television, things like that, right?
Yeah, you had a chance of getting a play done.
I had a chance, right.
Getting a movie done was another thing,
right? And it was the only place where I could ply my trade, my craft, with characters that were full human beings, right? If I'm cast in a white American play or something like that, what am I? I'm the houseboy,
boss,
right? Or and in plays, I'm the waiter, or I'm the
right.
There's not a whole lot for me out there in white theater, but all through that time, there were Asian American writers writing characters where I could practice, where I could do my work, where I could be, a full human being, a guy. So I continued to do that in my career. There's not a whole lot of money to be made in doing small Asian American productions,
but it's work.
In small, right? But it's my art. It's my life. This art, I've always been fascinated. This acting, it's like painting or sculpture, but the clay and the paints are your humanity, is your emotions and your own life experience and your own body and your own cultural and racial characteristics, right? Are part of what you bring to your basket of tools that you bring to creating these characters. And so, the characters that I create, they all a little bit represent people that kind of look like me, or kind of come out of the same perspective, human perspective, as I come from, culturally, racially, status-wise, age-wise, and all of that. So, I continue to try to give representation to these kind of represented people, characters. Guys like me are very underrepresented in the media.
Absolutely.
A middle-aged Asian American man who isn't necessarily exotic, but he's kind of he could be your neighbor. He's just a normal American guy with right. He's so much a part of the bigger human story, but he's underrepresented. You don't see him a whole lot.
Invisible.
So my whole mission is representing that guy in all his many shades, right? In Law and Order, I'm a police captain, right? A first responder, an unsung American hero, right? He's a guy that came up in the community, right? He's right now I'm getting to play a lot of fathers. I play Ali Wong's father in Beef. Right. So the other day I went to the premiere of Beef.
How was that?
It was crazy.
It looked crazy.
It was crazy. Yeah. There's a sort of a symbolic gesture done by Ali Wong in the movie.
I think I know what this is.
She does it with her hand
Yeah.
and a particular finger.
One of her fingers.
One of her
yeah.
fingers. And it is sort of this iconic gesture in the movie, in the TV series. And I play her father. And on the red carpet, all of the photographers they yelled at us, "Give us the finger." So they've got all of a sudden they click, 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 click. All of the photographers took this picture of me flipping off the camera. And so the next day, this is a few days ago, this goes viral, and I've got all kinds of pictures on the internet of me flipping the bird.
You did a double bird too. Let's be honest.
Right. Well, they kept on yelling. They said, "Oh, Kelvin, over here, flip the bird over here." Because one photographer started it. One photographer said, "Kelvin, give us the finger." And so, I flipped the bird a little bit, and then they all click, click, click. They all got, paparazzi. They all got very excited. Yeah. Like, "No, flip us the bird over here, Kelvin. Bird over here. You over here." Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll bleep it. Don't worry.
Okay, bleep that. But yeah, I'm serious. That happened.
Now let's talk about beef since we're on that topic. What talking about people with the golden touch. I think Ali Wong can do almost anything she wants now. I think she has earned Netflix's ear or Netflix's wallet.
She's incredibly talented. And and she's doing incredible work in this series, Beef, because she's both her and Stephen Yeun, who is a very, very, very good actor.
Yes, he is.
He's an Academy Award kind of actor.
Mm-hmm.
And Ali, we haven't realized it before. We thought of her as just a stand-up comedian, but she has been developing as an actor. And what she does here is, in terms of tone, this show is about road rage. Two people get into this road rage thing, but the rage is expressed in many, many different ways. There's a lot of comedy, dark comedy in it, but it's very quirky. It's unlike anything you've seen before. And what Steve and Ali get a tone that is really quirky and weird and cringy, a little bit cringy, as the kids say nowadays. And it's fantastic. You're going to love it. Yeah. I think people are just going to love it. I sat in a theater with a whole bunch of people watching it in the premiere, and everybody in the theater was just was squirming, was cringing. Everybody in the theater, you can feel them cringing.
Uncomfortable in a good way.
Uncomfortably delighted.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, but are we at the point now where we're going to see shows like this where they're all Asian or heavily Asian cast, but it's not a Chinese, it's not a Korean show.
It's not about that.
It's just a show with three-dimensional Asian Americans living their life and getting into nonsense. I mean, Always Be My Baby was kind of like that too. It was mostly about a love story. There's a little bit of culture in there, of course.
Well, it's happening.
We're talking
about it. We're talking about it.
Like, you're gonna see stuff where you can be a dude, but you don't have to be an Asian dude. You're just an Asian dude in it,
And this is what I've been working for since the very beginning, and it's starting to happen now. Again, just the other day, I was just on television, right? So this is sort of mainstream media, network television, right? I was on Law and Order, Organized Crime, but I'm playing an average guy. He's kind of and he's not exotic.
Yeah.
No
accent.
No accent and stuff. Which I don't have anything against well-placed accents that are done well.
If it fits the character, yeah.
If it fits the character, yeah. Characters, right. I did some interesting work for Kung Fu on CW because I was playing a character that he's a Chinese national. He's from China,
right? But
we wanted to do an accent that was elegant and uplifting. And if you see the accents they do on that show, you'll see Chinese accents being done that are I don't know how dignified and clear. And they're not like the accents that we remember bad actors doing back in the day on TV that sounded like sing-song,
right,
King Chong stuff, right? I worked with a dialect coach from New York that we did several Zoom sessions. I was in Vancouver shooting Kung Fu, and in my hotel room on the days that I wasn't shooting, I would Zoom with this dialect coach in New York City, coming up with this elevated, dignified, clear Chinese accent. Right? It is a truthful, realistic Chinese accent, but it's dignified, almost Shakespearean in scope, right? Okay, it has this kind of depth and clarity to it, but it has a flavor of Chinese language, but it is in no way demeaning, or you wouldn't make fun of this character at all, right? It's similar to what Angela Bassett is doing in the Wakanda thing, right? Angela Bassett is kind of trying to do this. Well, she is brilliantly. She's doing this sort of this. It's kind of a African-ish dialect, but it's elevated. It's clear. It's classical.
Not a parody.
No, it's not a parody. No, it's not. No, it's not making fun of anything. It's very dignified and elevated and clear. And again, like I hate to, I hate to make the metaphor this sort of white metaphor, but it's Shakespearean in scope. It's in, know.
Yeah.
I hate to say it in that way, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. What do you got coming up? I looked on IMDb. You got some things in the light gray, which means they're in production or they're pre-production. Things coming out.
Yeah. Sometimes there are some things in pre-production. I just finished a movie with Todd Haynes, a very, very good film director. And this is called May December. It's with Natalie Portman and Julianne Moore. And I don't know, it's going to come out maybe sometimes next year, because Todd Haynes is he's a craftsman of a movie director, and he does some incredible photography, cinematography in this film. It's based on the story. It's based on the Mary Kay Letourneau story.
Oh,
okay, right. Okay, yeah. I don't know this. It's called May December.
I'm a teacher. I know this.
Right. Okay, you know this, right? This white teacher who had an affair. It's considered with her 13-year-old student, Vili Fulau. But the names have been changed. But the story involves a May December kind of romance, and I play the father of the young boy, and so it's going to be very, very interesting. So that's a Todd Haynes thing.
Yeah.
What else do I got coming up? As I said, there's something on Netflix called Brother's Son that's coming up, starring Michelle Yeoh, and it's about two brothers, one that grows up in the United States, one that grows up in Asia, but they're both sons of a Chinese triad mafia family. And so it kind of, so there's some fun comedy and action in that, and Michelle Yeoh, and so that's going to be amazing. Beef is dropping.
Beef should be out by the time this airs. Yeah
it should be. Yeah.
Hey man, when next time you bump into Allie or Michelle, point her our way. We'll do an interview with her as well. So
next time I bump into Ali Wong, I'm gonna do what I've been doing whenever I bump into Ali Wong. I say, Ali Wong, who's your daddy? Because and
that's awesome.
Isn't that horrible? And and she is obligated to now, of course, say, Kelvin. Right. Because I, of course, play her father in Beef. That's my little joke.
Hey man, I feel like we have to talk a little bit about Everything Everywhere All at Once. I mean, just because it just happened, a month ago.
Yeah.
I mean, what were you going through your mind? I saw you doing a little live commentary on Facebook. You're dropping not live commentary,
Well,
but
I was just having fun. Yeah. I
yeah.
was watching
What was going through your mind when you saw these beautiful Asian people? Some of them that some of that you worked with.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts?
Um, it's a very emotional thing because these are things that I've dreamed of. Unfortunately, I'm not Ki Hui Kwan. I'm not that guy that
Yeah.
that gets the award, but he kind of gets it for all of us. Like James Hong, my Dai Lo. James Hong, if you want to know who I do look up to, James, who has had such a long career and who I'm starting to have, I don't think that I will ever achieve what James has achieved.
Well, you'd have to live to be 105.
You'd have to live to, right. Well, he's 93 or something like
You're
that.
not going to, it's going to be hard to touch his stuff.
It's tough to touch him. And by the time he was my age, he had already done a lot of great work.
Yeah.
But, his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, again, it just really feels like, it's there. He got that for so many people, for all of us, and so I'm very proud of these people and for making those marks there. It gives me hope. I've been doing this for a long time and I have not been able to be as successful as that. I'm not famous. I don't do the size of roles that some of these people do. But because of their work and because of the work of my brothers and sisters behind the camera and below the line, I have more opportunities now, and I think I'm doing good work.
Yeah,
it might
absolutely.
not, I'm not the star of stuff, but I hope that I'm just laying in these realistic, truthful characters again that are unrepresented. Maybe you haven't seen this guy before, but now when you've seen him, it's like he's always been there. He belongs woven into the fabric of American life, of our lives,
absolutely.
of your experience of humanity. That's so I still get to do that, and I'm very lucky that I get to do that.
And I think just being able to see it, to be able to see, like we were talking about the 90s, how we couldn't even imagine what a career in Hollywood might even look like because there weren't role models
right.
But now you're starting to see, people who've made a living doing this, who've become stars doing this, or even just make a living, doing it, where there's a little bit of a roadmap. It's still not, a well-lit road, but there's a little bit more that you can see. If you're a 18-year-old San Francisco kid, you can at least point to a few people who've done it. The Simu Lius, the Stephen Ewens, the Kelvin Han Yis, the Theodore Orchins. There's people who've done it and made a living. You haven't died, you haven't starved to death.
And you know what? And let me say this as well. And I've already touched upon this, but some of these people that Amy Hill, who's on Magnum PI now, and of course has had a huge career.
Yeah.
Dennis Dunn, who came out of Asian American Theater Company. Some of these people. Theo and my friends. We, among other things that we share things like accountants. We share things like, as I told you before, Theo, my actor friend, and we both came down here from San Francisco. We both are Asian American actors, right? He bought a house 2 blocks away from me. My other friend, Jenny, bought a house a couple of blocks away from me, right? So, those are signifiers beyond just your IMDb credits. That means that
community
people are, there's a community. We're actually making a living. We're actually, this is the roadmap of the Asian American artist. This is it. You're looking at it, right? It is possible. All the people that I just mentioned, they're raising families, and Perry Shen, right, who's on General Hospital right now, right? I just saw him at Theodore's party, right? Theodore has these parties at his pool, with all the other Asian American, all the other BIPOC and AAPI actors and people. He has these parties, right? And so there's this community. And I just saw Perry there and talking about his kids, raising his kids and like that. And he's been 10 seasons on daytime television.
Yeah.
But this is what you do.
Yeah.
You buy houses and you can raise kids.
Yeah.
That's right. This is the American dream.
Yeah.
This is it. Right. And we're here just as much as we're here. We're here.
You were out here.
We're here.
Yeah.
We bought here.
Yeah.
We bought in, right?
Yeah, you paid for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We own a piece of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Just like when Jay Leno came to town and when, right, all of it, right?
Uh-huh.
Everybody else, right? But this is where we've come.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's cool to see the hardware. It's cool to see, the foundation. And there's not just one roadmap too. We talked about voiceover and I know Phil's done it, and you've done some Korean drama voiceover.
Yeah. That's something that has, for me, late in my career, has exploded just recently.
Hey.
We're buying American media is buying a lot of worldwide international content, and I've just slipped into a lot of English dubbing for Asian content that's being shown on Netflix and Disney and
not that it makes a big difference to them, like the actual finished product. 20 years ago, they just would have had a bunch of white people reading these roles, right? Because who cares? It's a voice, right? And you don't have an accent, so what difference does it make?
Right. We're not playing these with accents or anything like that. But I think that there is a richness and a depth of character and understanding that even an Asian American, an AAPI, brings to that job when they're reading and seeing storytelling drama, whatever it is. I also did some work on some reality shows too, like Physical 100. I voiced one of the actors on there. Right. Okay. Yeah, the married guy, the big guy. Kim with the big guy, and Incredible Attorney Woo. I voice a judge on that, and then I'm also in Money Heist. Korea.
I watched all of these.
Have you watched all of them? Yeah,
well, I watch them in Korean with the subtitles.
You watch them in Korean, which most people do, and I understand that. That's great. But if you ever want to have a kid,
you're there.
Because, listen, me and the group of other artists that do the dubbing, I think we're doing better work than the old kung fu films, the Shaw Brother kung fu films in the 70s. I think, hey, my kung fu is better than your kung fu. I think we're doing better work. I take a listen to us because I think we're doing pretty good stuff. And we bring all the necessary things to these characters, and I don't think you'd be embarrassed.
Yeah.
By
and if it keeps you in the industry, it keeps you in the business. I'm all for it, man. Whatever. If the Korean wave goes as long as it can go, I'm all for it.
It's just international.
It's huge.
The Money Heist franchise, when it started in Spain, and then it went to Korea, and so this is an international kind of thing. And I just went to something at the Television Academy with the heads of the studios. It was a question and answer sit down thing with the people from Netflix and from HBO and from Disney, all the CEOs, the heads, and they're all going in this direction. International production.
Well, you look at the map, you realize, hey, half the world lives in Asia, so you got to tap into this.
Right, and it's also diversity of streams, of content streams, so that when we have a writer's strike here or something like that, then
or a pandemic,
right? That this is how these companies are now, these corporations are now covering their butts.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, what are we at? We're like at 90 minutes now. And I don't know how I'm gonna. Well, no, I don't want to cut anything. That's the problem.
Well, okay. You might have to make it into 2 episodes.
You know what? I think if people are listening to us now, they've stuck through it with us. They're interested. So I'm not gonna.
I'm
we'll cut
sorry. I apologize.
No. I want it. I want the content. But the only thing is, I like to keep it a little
go on and on.
No. You know what? I'm gonna keep going because if you're listening out there and you are enjoying these stories, I'm just gonna keep going. So we talked about Hollywood a lot, but let me throw some lightning round questions.
Torturing these poor people out there.
They can turn it off if they don't. If you don't like it, turn it off.
Yeah. You go turn it off. Do your homework.
It's not like they're paying for. They're not even paying for it. So
it's
free content.
It's free, right? You're stuck on the 405 anyway.
Yeah,
you're listening to this in your car in the 405.
Where do you have more important than listening to us right now? So.
Yeah, no, nothing.
All right, here you go. Ready? Lightning round. Favorite role you've ever played?
Oh my God, favorite role.
There's too many.
No, there's too many. God, I have no idea. I want to say something like the role that I haven't gotten yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know. Pass.
All right. Well, you know what? We'll go with Ali Wong's dad. How about that?
Ali Wong's dad? I ain't complaining. I ain't complaining. It's an interesting thing because, again, it's not a stereotypical Asian dad.
Yeah. Okay.
As a matter of fact, when I landed on set there, they said, let's not do a whole lot of accent. Suppose he's an immigrant,
right?
Also, just with the whole tone of it, it's very different from the stereotype that you're used to.
Cool. All right, what's a project that you are in that you can watch over and over?
I can't watch any of it. I can watch it if I skip over myself. I hate watching myself.
I get it.
I do now. I do watch myself for the work.
But not for fun.
No, it's not for fun because it's not fun for me.
I
watch with a very critical eye, and I direct myself. I'm still fascinated with this craft and this acting art, and it's still difficult to me. I can't say that that I'm good at it now after doing it for so long. I don't think I am.
Yeah, I disagree.
And so I constantly practice. And, to this day, all right, now I've been doing this for 30 years, almost 40 years, right?
Yeah.
I still spend time and money on coaching. I get coached by some of the best coaches in Hollywood for certain roles that I have coming up to do certain kinds of work that I want to do. Yeah, I'm really serious about this.
Yeah.
This art, this
it shows,
craft.
man. I think it shows.
I am. I just, I love it, and I love the puzzle of it, the puzzle of the puzzle of humanity. Because that's what I'm working with.
No, I mean, no one can do it for 35 years, Kelvin, and not be good at it. You're good. You are very good.
I'm good enough.
Right. Hey, man, you getting those Nash Bridges checks still, so something had to work.
Still getting those Nash Bridges checks. Don, I just got a check a couple of weeks ago. I just got another check from old Nash Bridges check. Thank you, Don, if you're out there listening to this Infatuasian podcast, because I know Don Johnson listens to this.
Absolutely, he listens. Yeah, absolutely, no question about it.
Up in Ojai.
All right, I'm gonna throw some names at you. This is just for fun.
No,
so
oh my God,
I know you know these people, so I'm gonna say, okay, pick one. All right, you don't have to justify it. Joy Luck Club or Crazy Rich Asians?
Crazy Rich Asians.
All right,
Rich Asians.
Yeah, Fresh Off the Boat or Kim's Convenience?
Fresh Off the Boat.
With your guy, Randall Park. Yeah.
With my guy, Randall Park. And I just did a movie with Hudson Yang.
Okay.
Called Honor Student. And it's a very timely thing. It's about gun violence in schools.
Okay. All right.
It's called Honor Student with Hudson Yang.
All right.
Check that out. That's coming out. That's actually out right now at film festivals. But they're going to do a major release.
All right, last one. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, or Parasite?
I thought Everything, Everywhere, All at Once was. It's a brilliant movie. Yeah. It's deep. It's one of the most amazing movies I've ever seen. That they did so much movie in the amount of time that they did it in.
Huh.
Just the levels that movie,
Yeah.
the writing is on is incredible.
Yeah.
The directing of that movie. I don't know how you direct a movie like that.
Yeah.
How do you direct a movie like that?
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. You're not alone. You're definitely
It's an incredible achievement in film.
Yeah.
I gotta say that.
Could you have guessed that we would have two Asian mainstream films getting Best Picture? One from Korea, one from America. I would not have seen that coming. Even 5 years ago, I wouldn't have seen that coming.
I'm waiting for the blowback from the greater public, like, oh, we're sick of these Asian people.
Yeah. Well, I was worried about Michelle Yeoh not getting the award because I was like, oh no, did they give too many already?
I know.
But yeah, fortunately. All right, Kelvin, we like to end the interview by asking our guests to pick an infatuasian. An infatuasian is anyone in the Asian community that has inspired you. They can be living or deceased. Kelvin Han Yi, who is your infatuasian?
Oh, I mentioned it already. I'll go back to James Hong.
Yeah.
James' longevity,
the body,
and his
work.
craft, his body, and his craft. I've worked with him as an actor. One of the most incredible scenes that I ever saw him do was he did a scene in Sucker Free City. He did a scene where he's tortured in a bathtub. And it was one of the most incredible things ever. And I think very few people have seen that little piece, that scene that James Hong did, but it was incredible. It was incredible. He's one of the best actors, and he's given so much to the Asian American acting community. He was one of the guys that started East West Players, the longest running theater of color in America. And he's an inspiration to me.
Yeah. No, he's so glad he's still doing it, and so glad.
And he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
That helps too. Yeah, you think?
Yeah. He doesn't have to be a good guy, but he is.
Right. Well, maybe that's helped him over the year. You don't stay in this industry, if you're a complete jerk. I don't think.
No.
You have to make friends.
No, he's a good guy, and he's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's super cool. Yeah, and he's very charismatic with the ladies and stuff. Really. No, he's very charming. He's very charming
James Hong.
James Hong, man, he's got it. He's got it going on.
All right, man. I think that does it for our episode. Thank you so much to Kelvin Han Yi, man.
A pleasure. Thank you so much.
So fun. Yeah. No, I'm gonna listen to this one fondly. Yeah, this is fun.
All right. Just cut it.
No,
to bits.
We'll see.
Cut all my stuff out.
Yeah.
Just have you asking the questions. That's all we need.
No, I could do that by myself. I didn't need you if I did that. So, hey, everyone, you can follow Kelvin at Kelvin Han Yi, or you can go to kelvinhanyi.com. Lots of good stuff there. Lots of good stuff coming up in the future for Kelvin, so keep an eye out for him. Go watch him in Beef. He's Ali Wong's dad. And, one thing I do, I'm a biology teacher. So I show a movie every year when we get to the genetics section, just for fun. I show a movie called The Island, a Michael Bay film with Scarlett Johansson and Ewan McGregor. And there's you're in it for 2 seconds.
For 2 seconds. If you cough, you'll miss me.
When you pop up and you say something like, watch your proximity.
Watch your proximity to Scarlett and Ewan.
Yeah.
Right, I have a scene with Scarlett Johansson and Ewan McGregor,
and I pause it. And I say, "I know that guy. I know that guy. He's from San Francisco, kids."
Yeah.
So anyway, keep an eye out for Kelvin. I'm sure you've seen him, and you'll see him again. Thanks again for your time, and everyone, write to us at infatuasianpodcast@gmail.com and tell us where you've seen Kelvin. So tell us what show you've seen him in, and you can always follow us at The Infatuasian Podcast on Instagram or Facebook. And as usual, thank you so much for listening to us. And on behalf of Kelvin and myself, we are hoping that you're all happy, healthy, and safe out there. And we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye, everybody.